Alright, in this video I want to introduce the string type in C++. And for people who might have the book, this is covered in chapter 3 of Beginning C++. Okay, so this is a sample program from the book, and we're going to be using IOStream, and we also need to include this string header right here, and we have the standard namespace. So we have our string, and this is similar to the string type that we saw in C#. So you'll see some differences. So one thing we can do is just set it equal immediately to a literal string game. So this loads GAME into the variable word1. In this statement right here, we have word2, and then in parentheses we have the literal string over. And what that does is loads the word over into word2. Okay, so it's just another way of instantiating the string, of loading up an initial set of characters into the string. And then for word3, what we're doing, notice we have this integer 3 right here, and then a comma, and then a single quoted with one character in it. Single quotes around it means it's a single character. Okay, so we're going to have three instances of this character exclamation point. And so what that does is that creates a word string that's just 3 exclamation points. Okay, so then what happens next is we have here, we're making a new string called phrase, and notice these plus signs in here, so we can use concatenation in C++ the way we could in C#, and you can stick in blanks if you want by putting a blank in quotes like that. So now at this point, the phrase is going to be game space over exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Okay, so when we stream out the phrase is phrase, then it's going to say game over with 3 exclamation points, and then we have 2 carriage returns here. Okay, and then the next thing that happens is we have, you remember in C# we had an attribute length, and here for strings in C++ we have a method called size, and so remember, methods need to have these parentheses after them. So if we want to get the size of a string, in this case the size of the string phrase, we need to put our dot, and then our method call is size with parentheses. So I'll say this phrase has, and then it's going to give the size of the phrase, characters in it, and then 2 more carriage returns. Okay, here is an example of indexing into a string, which is again something you can do in C#. Right? You can say, okay, I want the 0th character, which is always the first character in the string, right? So it says the character at position 0 is, and then it'll give that, so it'll give the G, because that's the first letter in our phrase. Now, one thing that you can do in C++ that you can't do in C# is change the individual characters in the string. So the strings in C# are immutable. Okay, they can't be changed. That's why you needed that string builder class in C#. in C++, you can actually, index an individual character and set that character to a particular value. So in here we're changing the first letter in our string phrase to a letter L, the character L. Okay, and so now it's going to say the phrase is now, and it's, instead of game over, it's going to be lame over with the 3 exclamation points. Okay, and another thing we can do is, so again, here's just another use of size. We want to loop through our all the characters in our string phrase. So we're going to have a for loop that says for I equal to 0, I less than the size of the phrase, and we're going to increment I at the end of each loop. So we say, okay, the character position I, so it'll go from 0 to just under one character less than the, or one index less than the size, right? Which is what we want, because if, like, say, if the size of the phrase is, if there are 5 characters, then we'll want to loop through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So the highest we want I to go is 1 less. That's why we have this less than sign here. So character position at I is, and then we index into phrase. We get the ith character in phrase, and we stick our endl at the end, which endl is equivalent to just one of these carriage returns. And then we say cout, we stuck in another carriage return here. The sequence over begins at location. So in C# we had this method called index of. In C++, that index of, to find the index of a particular character in a string. So in C++, if we want to find a string, like a string inside a larger string, we can just use this find method. So we can say dot find over, okay, and that'll find the string over in phrase, and it gives us the beginning, so it'll give us where the location of the O, the index of the O in that string. Now the thing is that there might be a string that doesn't occur. The string you're looking for might not necessarily occur in the larger string, right? So the way you can check to see if it's actually in there is with this string : npos. Okay, so you can think of that as like, I don't know, a no position, or a not in the string position. I think it's actually a -1 in most C++ implementations. So it might, you might have just been able to say equals -1, but it gives you a value that says it wasn't in there. So if we do a find and we get this value here, this string the string : npos, then we're going to print out eggplant is not in the phrase, which it's not. So we should see that, right? Another method, another string method is erase. And in this case, what we're doing is we're giving erase 2 inputs, a 4 and a 5. And what that does is that will erase the 5 characters starting at the 4th position. Okay. So what does that mean? So if it says game over, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we have that space. That's 4. So it'll just erase, oh, and then it'll erase 5 characters, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, let's see. We'll have to try that one out. I don't remember now if it starts. Well, we'll see that one in a second. And then phrase, this one, erase 4, is going to erase the characters from 4 till position 4 until the end. This one, phrase erase without any inputs, erases everything. And then there's this other method, dot empty, that lets you that erases the whole, or that returns a Boolean that says whether or not the string is empty. And in this case, because we did this erase with no inputs, it will be empty. So we'll see that. So let me just run this. Okay, so we started out with the phrase game over, 3 exclamation points, and we counted the characters there. So there are 12 characters. The character at position 0 is G. Then we changed the character at position 0 to an L, so then it changed to lame over. And then we looped through and got the character at each position. The sequence over begins at location 5. So let's just count that. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. So that's that. Eggplant is not in the phrase. Now, so we didn't erase. We did erase 4, 5. Okay, and then it became lame. So let's see. So if we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we started erasing at 4, and we erased for 5 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we erased all of over. That makes sense. So then we got just lame with 3 exclamation points. Then we did erase 4, or erase with 4 in parentheses. So that just erased the. So first we did this one, the 4, 5. Then we said erase 4. And since our string, with this string now, if we say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that means we're going to start erasing here and erase till the end. So we erase all 3 of these exclamation points, and then the phrase is now lame. And then we did our phrase erase with empty parentheses. That completely erased the string, so there's nothing in the string. And then, so it says the phrase is now with nothing after it because it's just an empty string. And then here where it says if phrase empty, then we're going to type the phrase is no more, and we did type it because the phrase was empty, so this Boolean is going to return true. All right, and so that's how string tester works.